Chapter 12. The Psychological Moment. When all the elements of those circumstances, conditions, forces, environments, and opportunities that surround a personal life are about to meet in a favorable climax, we have what is called the psychological moment. It is psychological because the interior powers, the higher powers, the superior powers, in brief, the best powers that are active at the time, are on the verge of gaining a decisive victory over limitations and things. At such a moment, the mind and soul approach the superior, and all the elements and forces concerned are ready to obey. All things pertaining to the exterior have been drawn into the onward current of those things that act from the interior, and everything is about to give up its power for the promotion of the predominating purpose. When all things in your life have come to that state where they can work together for you and bring about a speedy realization of your leading object in view, then you have entered the psychological moment. What to do at such a time is of the utmost importance. If you can properly handle the psychological moment, the dreams of your life will come true. But if you cannot, years and years of hard work may be lost, and much of it will have to be done over again. A psychological moment comes to races, to nations, to armies, to parties, to communities, and to every individual person who is alive with some definite purpose in view. To find the cause of the psychological moment is not always possible, but it is usually an effect of much thought and effort along a certain line combined with present powers in such conditions as predominate at the time. The psychological moment can therefore be produced by anyone who knows how and who will take the time. And everybody should learn how and should take the time, because it is only through the psychological moment that really great things are done at the right time. When the psychological moment comes, the time is ripe for your particular action. The world is ready to appreciate what you intend to do, and all the forces and elements of life are at hand to aid you to a successful issue of the great undertaking you have in mind. To take advantage of the psychological moment is to do things at the right time, when everybody wants you to do it and when everything wants to help you do it. The importance of paying attention to the psychological moment is very evident when we know that thousands of great things have been attempted before the race was ready to cooperate. And it was therefore seeds scattered upon stony ground where no results were secured. In like manner, thousands of great things have been attempted while the circumstances, forces, and elements were adverse, and these, through their adverseness, perverted such actions as were applied. Those actions thereby either became detrimental or were neutralized entirely. When a great man has acted at the wrong time and has acted in vain, we find that instead of becoming a great light in history, he has either been absolutely forgotten or is remembered only with contempt. It may sometimes seem difficult, however, to wait for a great moment, but it is better to wait and then do something of worth than keep on trying at the wrong time and never accomplish anything. But when we speak of waiting for the psychological moment, we do not mean that that moment will appear of itself at a certain time to every individual. On the contrary, it is something that we ourselves must create. Therefore, if we have some great purpose in life, we should begin at once to create the psychological moment through which that purpose can be brought forward and realized to the very highest degree. We cannot single-handedly make the world over, and we cannot at once make the race appreciate our efforts, but we can gradually bring ourselves into such perfect harmony with the world that all will appreciate our efforts in a measure. And we can gradually bring ourselves into such united action with all the elements and forces of life that all of these will come to our aid and work together to promote the purpose we have in view. The wise man will not try to force upon the world what the world cannot now receive. He will do now what can be appreciated now. In the meantime, he will enter into more perfect harmony with the world that all concerned may understand each other better. The wise man will not undertake difficult things until he realizes that all the circumstances are ready to work with him, because he knows that if the circumstances are not ready to work with him, he will fail. Therefore, Instead of defying circumstances as so many do, the wise man proceeds to secure the cooperation of his circumstances. He enters into more perfect harmony with the powers that be. He meets halfway those conditions that do not understand his purpose. When things will not go his way, he goes their way for a while until a better acquaintance is secured. Then all things are more than willing to go his way because they have discovered the superiority of his purpose in life. Before we undertake anything, we should prepare the way. We should secure the cooperation of all the elements of life and should secure the appreciation of the world in which we expect to act. In other words, we should first create the psychological moment. Sometimes this moment can be produced in short time, and then again, it may take years. But what is time compared with such deeds as may change the course of the entire race and live for countless periods of time? To produce the psychological moment, have a strong purpose and keep this purpose uppermost in the mind regardless of what may be said or done. Believe that you can carry out that purpose in the fullness of time and permit nothing to disturb that belief in the least. Hold fast to your belief as if it were life itself until all thoughts and actions come to recognize that belief is supreme. Whenever any purpose in your life comes to be recognized by your thought as supreme, all thoughts and all actions will begin to work for the promotion of that purpose. Everything in your life will move in the direction of that purpose and will help you work toward the goal in view. And when all your thoughts begin to work for a certain great purpose, all your circumstances will begin to move in the same direction, gradually giving more and more power to the good work and steadily becoming more and more favorable. The stronger you become in your determination to promote that purpose, the stronger will be your life and your thought moving in the same direction. And the more power your personality applies in this direction, the sooner will all your circumstances and environments fall into line and turn over all their powers to you. We all know that this is true, and we all know why. No further analysis, therefore, is required, but the fact that such is the case is of enormous importance to us. A strong soul with a powerful mind, living, thinking, and working for the promotion of a great and worthy purpose, will soon cause all the elements and forces in his life move toward the great climax. It will not take him long to turn fate, to transform adversities, to change tendencies, and thus cause all the powers of his life to work with him and for him. To him, the psychological moment will soon come, and when it does come, he can fulfill his great purpose and cause his cherished dream to come true. It is in this way that great deeds are done, deeds that never die, but that continue as endless inspirations to all the world. Many minds set out with great aims in life, but they do not continue faithfully. They lose courage and often cease for years to work for those aims. But the psychological moment does not come in this way. It does not come by itself. It is something that we must create. It is the climax of months or years of thought and effort in a certain direction. Therefore, if we permit our high purpose to rest, nothing will be done toward producing the psychological moment for that purpose. The great moment comes when we have marshaled all the powers within us and about us and brought them all together, ready to act at once and in unity in giving their all to the purpose we are just about to fulfill. When all the elements, forces, and circumstances in a person's life are brought together and made to act in perfect unity and at the right time and place, it is evident that nothing can prevent that person from doing something great and very remarkable. The average person seldom acts under favorable circumstances and hardly ever secures the cooperation of all the forces in his life. Great deeds, therefore, cannot be expected through his efforts. To produce the psychological moment, have a great purpose and live constantly for that purpose no matter what may transpire. Bring every thought and action into unity with that purpose as rapidly as you can and steadily direct all the powers of your being to work for the coming of the great day. Circumstances and environments will soon respond to your irresistible determination and will soon go with you, turning all their energies upon the one purpose in view. A resolute determination that cannot be shaken, combined with high aims, abundance of faith, and positive actions, these are factors that will bring the psychological moment to anyone and bring it speedily. But we must bear in mind that after we have chosen our purpose, we must live, think, and work for it constantly and not fall back for a single moment. When you establish a strong tendency in a certain direction, everything in your life will soon establish the same strong tendency. And when all these tendencies are speeding forward, aiming at the same goal, the climax will soon come. Then you are in the psychological moment. All things are ready to act upon your word, and through their united action, they will be fully able to do that for which they have been assembled. The moment may not last long, a few days, a few weeks, or at times a few months. Frequently, such moments last but an hour, but in great undertakings that involve many circumstances, the time is usually prolonged to several months or years. When the moment has come, however, you must act and act properly, or the efforts of the years will be lost. All things have come your way, not to do something unbeknown to you, but to do something for you. And that something must correspond with the original purpose that brought about the psychological moment. It need not be exactly the same purpose, but it must be a kindred purpose. When the great moment appears, you may discover that you can act to better advantage by turning all your energies toward a slightly different plan, but this plan must be in harmony with the original idea, or the forces assembled cannot assist you. However, you must act, and act in the best manner that you possibly know, and this is especially true with regard to the actions of your mind. As you think at this time, so will be your interior forces. And as your interior forces are, so are those forces that act in your environment. All things, therefore, have come to follow your word, but without your word or action, they can do nothing. To do the best thing possible at this time, have unlimited faith in yourself. Have unlimited faith in everybody that is in any way connected with the purpose in view, and have unlimited faith in all the opportunities, conditions, and circumstances that now are with you. View everything from the very highest place you can reach. Be your best. See yourself at your best, and think of everything as it is while at its best. Do not criticize anything or anybody. Your object is to get the very best out of this great opportunity, and you must not burden the mind with a single adverse thought. If you are not doing your work as well as you wish, or if others are not proving themselves equal to your high ideal, give no thought to this deficiency. You will certainly take a long step forward when this moment is finished, and others will do likewise, but every critical thought will act as an obstacle to the greatest results. Place yourself in the highest and the most harmonious relationship with all things. You must meet everything on the mountaintop, because if you are on the heights, all your helpers will come up also, and will thus produce that which is rare, worthy, and superior. During the psychological moment, you are the great master of the situation. As you go, so will everything about you go, because all things have come to go your way. What you want done, that will be done, because all things have come to act upon your word. It is therefore of the greatest importance that you occupy a very high place in thought, purpose, and action. You must appear at your best, feel your best, and recognize your own real superiority. Your own thoughts become patterns and must therefore be supremely high. Your own actions determine the action of mighty forces and creative powers, and must therefore be in harmony with all that is lofty, perfect, and true. Do not for a moment lose sight of your purpose, and in the midst of the great moment, be more determined than you have ever been before to gain the great goal. When the psychological moment is approaching, many minds make it a practice to relax their efforts, thinking that since things are coming their way, the results will be forthcoming without any further personal attention. But this is a serious mistake. Things are coming your way because you have drawn them into the path, and they are coming to carry out what you wish to have done when the climax comes. If you leave the field of action, the great assembly will have no leader and can therefore do nothing. Accordingly, they will soon scatter, and you will have lost one of the greatest opportunities of your life. Thousands of minds have left the field of action at the approach of the great moment, believing that things would come right because indications pointed toward a favorable climax. Thus, they lost completely because they did not recognize the psychological side of the moment. And it is the psychological side that is the one most important side. When this great moment comes, all things in your life are brought together to obey your will. And you must be in the very midst of all these things to give the proper word of command. Therefore, when the great climax is approaching, have more faith than you have ever had. Be more determined than you ever were, and think higher thoughts than you have ever thought before. Though you are not to criticize others at the time, still you must bring yourself up to the very highest point of perfection possible. The higher you are in the worlds of power, superiority, and worth, the greater will be the results when the expected climax does come. Depend, therefore, upon higher power and relate yourself harmoniously to the Supreme. Try to feel that you are being filled and surrounded by forces that come direct from the very presence of the Supreme, and that it is therefore impossible for you to fail. Do not permit yourself to fall down at any place, nor fall short at anything. It is the time for you to attain and achieve as you never did before, and nothing in your personality must stand in the way. While the psychological moment continues, special attention should be given to a pure life, a strong life, an ideal life, and a masterful life, and all the qualities and attributes of perfection should be constantly in mind. Live in the upper story, but act upon the tangible world according to the high purpose that you are determined to fulfill. The results will be as you wish. The goal will be gained. Then you can proceed to prepare the way for a still greater psychological moment, and thus in the coming days reach a much higher goal than you have ever known before.